Evening, everybody. My name's Ryan, and this is the PSC Life. And this is Toby. Say hi, Toby. Say hi, Toby.
Hi, 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 hi.
Today I'd like to run through a quick scenario with all of you. Here's the scene. You smoke hookah up to a location, and there's a defense that's just in a really inconvenient spot. The issue is that you don't have the GBE to shock it, so it locks on your Zookas and takes out a huge chunk of them. Luckily, I'm all about playing tiny little advantages to give me an extra second to take down a base. If you watch one more time, all the troops leave the smoke at exactly the same time, meaning the mortar will simply lock onto the closest target. My silly little trick to buying time here is simply to give the defenses something to target before exposing your Zookas. Letting your heavies leave the smoke just a moment before it disappears will make the defensive buildings lock onto the heavies, keeping your Zookas safe for at least one salvo. Again, you can see exposing your heavies draws the fire of the rockets and buys you a full 5 seconds recharging period. Now let's go and see this in action on a base. So this base actually has 9 ice, which I find hilarious when people do that, cut their offensive statues for extra ice beyond just their guardians. And 8 of it was building health. So I was a little bit nervous going into this. I didn't know that I could actually take it out with Hooka. But I saw the shield generator placement and I knew that I just had to try it. So if you ever do something like that, thank you for being the kind of person you are, making that thing that could possibly make Hooka impossible turn into just, 5 GBE, 3 GBE. So drop my 2 boats of heavies to clear mines, then drop my Zookas, then the rest of the heavies. Smoke up to spot just below the headquarters. You see I'm placed far enough away that the heavies and Zookas will have separation. So I need to shock this shock launcher rocket and mortar directly to the left. This mortar and rocket that are just above me are borderline whether they're going to hit the Zookas or the heavies. So I know that I need to let the heavies get exposed first to draw their fire. And once they lock on, they kind of stay there locked on, and really give my Zookas a nice pocket with just a sniper shooting at them. And I had just enough gunboat energy for 2 shocks on the shock launcher rocket mortar, and that's really all I had. But the base goes down well. I'm really happy it worked out like that. This brings me to my next point, the triangle smoke. This is an approach to use on up attacks to lure defenses into targeting heavies, just as my previous examples were. The difference being that this approach flares the HQ first, meaning you need more smokes to cover your troops, but the Zookas begin firing slightly more quickly. Let's take a look at a live example. Fang is probably the best example of this kind of base, where the walk is really short, but there's a crap load of defenses that you have to shock, so you really want 1 or 2 boats of heavies up front, and just try to get them to take as much fire as possible, giving your Zookas a time to get a couple of salvos on the core. So as you can see here, we've cleared a little pocket right in front of the core. Clear some mines, deploy the Zookas, and then follow them up with our heavies. And we're going to flare right down, right underneath that machine gun. And once we get up there, basically throw the triangle smoke, let the heavies come out first, throw some critters and shocks to hit the stuff on the perimeter, and just pray for the best, see how far you can make it. Let your heavies just eat a whole bunch of fire, and go from there. So you see the triangle smoke thrown. Once you flare, the heavies will walk into the front smoke, and the Zookas will walk in the second smoke. Make sure that your smokes are far enough apart that the troops will stand in that manner. Throw your critters, throw some shocks. You see the heavies come out first. Pretty much everything targets the heavies, and they get melted pretty quickly, but that buys the Zookas just enough time to take the core down. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. One last thing before I go. A couple weeks ago I started a YouTube challenge with a guy that I'm scared to pronounce his name, but he told me to call him Soul, and I have a result, so let's take a look at how I did. So the way our challenge was set up is that each base needed 2 level 3 protos, 3 ice statues, and that's about it. We are attacking once with Hooka, once with RZCM, once with warriors. So this first base I have has a shock blaster and a grappler, plus 3 ice, and I'm attacking with Hooka. So I barrage my way through some mines because I have no troop health on this account, and clear the mortar and storage building where I'm going to park my troops, deploy my heavies to try to distract all that rocket fire, and it goes okay. I lose some troops on the way up. I lose a handful of heavies and 3-4 Zookas, which could be a lot better, but could be worse. So working my way up from there, it's a pretty easy walk. No mines really along the path, just up front is where they all were. And once I get here, I can flare the headquarters, shock the machine gun, shock the stuff behind the Zookas, basically, and take it down from there. So flare, throw a critter shock, throw another shock, accidentally throw a third shock on the machine gun, which really hurt me, as it lets the rocket and shock blaster attack me instead of a critter, which is what I wanted. But anyway, I forgot to calculate how much gold I lost on this attack, but I'll get it for you guys in 1 second. I lost 8 heavies, 16 Zookas, so let's go take a look. Just did the math for that. My first attack cost 121,600 gold. So the second base has 5 ice statues, including a building health idol, which at XP 61, I have no idea what this person's doing. But anyway, also has a shield generator and a grappler, and this is my RZCM attack. So I'll go ahead and GBE 2 rockets and 1 shock launcher. And my plan after that is to smoke my troops up near the rocket and near the shock launcher on the right side to take those out as soon as possible. So I'll deploy my troops, medics in the very back, because there's nothing really shooting the troops right in front. So once I clear a couple of things for free GBE, I'll smoke my troops up and let them take a little bit of damage from this flamethrower to keep the medics following. And it shouldn't actually cost me any troops to do that. So once the smoke clears, throw 1 critter and 1 shock on that flame and shock launcher. The rocket doesn't really do that much, and it goes out down pretty quickly. I still have the shock launcher and rocket that I need to take care of, so I'll GBE those as I have the gunboat energy. So I'm clearing up on the right side. All my medics survived. I lost a handful of Zookas, which really hurts. But all my cryos survived, so really the most casualties I'm looking at right now is just the 1 boat of Zookas. So re-flare up to the top, and at this point there's no splash damage left that can really hurt me. It's just those boom cannons, which I'll shock, and go to work on this shield generator, try to race the clock, see how many troops I lose on the way down. So troops on the right are kind of working their way towards the shield generator. They're not actually going to make it in time, which is unfortunate. But it's whatever. So make it up there, smoke my troops that are near those flamethrowers, and the headquarters goes down just like that. So let's take a look at how much gold I lost from this battle. We'll zoom out here. And 38 riflemen, 8 Zookas, 1 Cryoneer, 0 medics. And that'll cost 103,600 gold. Let's take a look at our third shot. So my grand total so far is 225,200 gold lost. This next base is my warrior attack. You can see there are 3 ice statues, plus a doom cannon and a grappler. You can also see there's some mines around the headquarters and some mines right on the beach. I don't have any troop health, as I said earlier, and that actually doesn't hurt warriors as much as other troops, because you're really racing your shocks, so having that much GBE and troop damage really helps you compensate well. So I clear the mines, do a 1 smoke landing, flare the sniper tower, and you can see I overlap my smokes a bit so that I don't have to smoke directly on the sniper, and I can spread out my spacing, get to the headquarters with slightly fewer smokes. So I try to time that second last smoke right with the shock mine so that I could spend as much time underneath that as possible and my warriors didn't risk getting hit. Once I get there, I still have 62 gunboat energy, so 1 critter shock, and then 2 more shocks, and 1 extra boat or critter box, and there's not a whole lot hitting me right now, except the 1 mortar, and it goes down with 2 warriors lost total, which I'm really happy about. So let's take a look at the gold lost on that one. 2 warriors, nice intel. And that'll cost me 9,200 gold, bringing my grand total to 234,400. Well, Saul, my man, the ball's in your court. Can you beat 234,400? Let's see what you got. See you guys next time. Happy booming.